Finally, a C5 Corvette, my favorite of all the generations. Let's get started. So today, if you were to come up to me and say, I've got a brand new C8 Corvette Wizard, I just want to donate it to you, I'd say, take it home. I don't want it. This is what I want. I love the C5 Corvette. These things, to me, they got all the styling right. It's not too crazy looking like an insect or some sort of a creature. It just looks like a Corvette, and it's classic, and it's clean, and it's really nice. And the one thing that's really crazy about this 2003 Corvette, number one, it's a Z06, which has 405 horsepower. But it has only 15,000 miles on it. So, time-wise, obviously it's expired its original factory warranty, but miles-wise, it hasn't even reached it yet. Obviously it doesn't have a warranty anymore, but this thing is really, really nice. And it's a manual, of course, because it's a Z06. It's in here for a few issues with steering lock. It had some issues with the door actuator, and basically just a check over to see how well things are on it. Let's go ahead and take a look around this thing. It is super nice. There we have the beautiful front of this C5. It has some niceties on it that are Z06, like these little grills here. It is 50th anniversary as denoted on the badge that's on the nose of this car. And this is the last era of Corvettes with the flip-up headlights. I'll demonstrate it real quick. Isn't that so cool, guys? As we go down this side, we will find one tiny flaw, which is really, really sad. The wheels obviously are in really good shape. It has some extreme contact tires on it, Continentals. But as we get to the area near the side mirror, the customer informed us that he was working in his garage and accidentally dropped a pair of pliers and chipped a little piece of the paint. And literally, he says he literally cried. He was very, very sad. So that's the only flaw. The rest of the paint on this thing is immaculate, 15,000 mile level quality paint. The only thing I would change about this if it was mine is that it would have the full hatchback. To me, that's perfect with the lines of a Corvette. I'm not so into the, I don't know what you call that, the chopped rear window. I definitely like the hatchback, but it still is an awesome car. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. This hood opens like a Jag, Mrs. Wizard.
I love my Jag.
There is our beautiful 5.7 liter engine. It is the Z06. And as stated on the side of the car on the badge, it is 405 horsepower. I've driven these before. I think Tyler from Hoovie's Garage actually had one years ago, and it was very fun and very fast. One thing that's really nice about these Corvettes is, as you can see, you can work on it. A person who's handy with some wrenches can get under here and do their own work and not get angry, not throwing wrenches, not be pissed off. You can pretty much fix anything on here without too much fanfare. So when people say you should LS swap this, you should LS swap your boat, LS swap your toilet in your bathroom, whatever, this is it. This is the LS motor. It is a very, very good engine. There's nothing we need to do under the hood. It looks immaculate. It drives immaculate. There's really nothing we need to do under here. So let's go ahead and get that closed. And Mrs. Wizard can show you guys around the interior.
Okay, he's wrong, ladies, gents. There's only 14,280 miles on this thing, and it presents just like that. Look at that gauge cluster. It is absolutely beautiful. Not just a plain design, but if you look, it's kind of got a fun checkerboard going on in the background as well. If I can pan around just a little. I'm going to turn our key off, save that battery. As we move up, you'll see it has a heads-up display area. Can't really show it now because the car is not running, but it would project the speed and other things up on the actual glass. The rest of it, obviously, we're not going to see anything wrong here because it is in great shape. It does have a lovely grab bar. As you're going around those corners, that passenger, while they don't have a steering wheel, they can at least grab a hold of that bar to make sure they're not flying around. Obviously, everything is original condition. Nothing's marked, nothing's scratched off. All those buttons are absolutely perfect. Here is our 6-speed shifter. We like those fun little hidey holes. There's a nicely hidden cup holder. Just one, because passenger apparently has to hold theirs. As we move to our seats, they are a nice dark charcoal gray with the Z06 stitched into the headrest, but it is all one piece. Nice leather. Now, obviously, there's nothing cracked here. Everything is in perfect condition. A little bit of bolster on the side. Obviously, we've got a nice high armrest here, and the door is right there as well, so that also helps keep you in place, so there's not much extra space to wiggle around. Door card is in fabulous shape, nothing marked, buttons are looking absolutely perfect. They don't fool around with this car. There is no back seat, there's nothing, there's no pretend back seat with, no leg room, no. It's just got minor, very, very small cargo area here, but it also has a trunk behind that space as well. As we move up, you'll see headliner, perfect condition, of course, because it's got 14,000 miles on it. Nothing going on, nothing bad. So as we move back to our steering wheel, no, they're not going to put just a Chevy emblem on there. We got a little bitty one right there, but no, we've got the standard Corvette racing flags imprinted into the middle of that steering wheel. And here, let's feel around. Nope, no controls here. Nope, no controls there. Nope, it's new enough that it could have controls, but it doesn't because they want you to have fun driving this car, not fooling around with radio stations. They want you to listen to that engine purr as it's going down the road. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air.
So I was wrong, not even 15,000 miles, we're still in the 14s. Let's see if the underneath reflects that, which very likely it will. The first thing I can see is the scoop here for the radiator, kind of an air dam, it has some scrapes, but it's not very much at all because such low miles. There's our condenser. It's got a leaf on it or a few little things like that, but it's not damaged or clogged or anything. We can see he's been driving on the street or something, got a little bit of dust on it, but nothing serious. Check our wheels, brakes, everything looks good. There's our shock. It's not leaking. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose. This thing is so new and so clean, it still has the original tags on it, guys. You can read everything on it. Amazing. Just like the C4 Corvette, they have fiberglass transverse springs that go across. There's no leaf springs or coil springs or anything. It's this way, for those of you that are not initiated with Corvettes. So that's why you don't see really any springs in the wheel area. It's all right here. We did have an issue with the harmonic balancer. Well, not necessarily an issue, but the customer wanted us to check it out because it is a common failure point on these cars. The rubber ring that I'm scraping right here, this metal piece will become separated from this metal piece or start wobbling really bad. We tested this one and it is perfectly straight and perfectly happy right now, so no issue there yet. Let's check this side. Pads are good, shock is good, sway bar link is good. Nothing loose, more tags. Go back to the engine. Here's our pancake oil pan. It's like a nice flat pancake instead of a big dipping down oil pan. This car is too low to have a standard LS oil pan. What I mean by that is an LS based truck engine. There's our oil filter, short little stubby guy. Everything's nice and dry on this thing. The aluminum is even still shiny, like it just came out of the factory. One thing that I really like about when I find a C5 Corvette like this in this condition is that it's not been tampered with, it's not been butchered and torn into pieces and put crazy looking exhaust systems or really back alley type work on it. This one's pristine. It's really nice. It has the stock exhaust. Here's the cats. As we go back, everything looks good. Here's our transaxle, which on most cars the transmission is right behind the engine. But just like on a Porsche 928 or various other cars, or even Ferraris do this, is the transaxle's back here to distribute the weight better. Unlike a Lamborghini Gallardo or something that's all-wheel drive, this one's still only rear-wheel drive. So it stays true to being a classic Corvette. Look at all this stuff, guys. The wires, the shielding, everything looks like it's fresh out of the factory. Amazing. We'll check this wheel over here. Brakes are good. Shock is good. CV boots are good. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose. Here's our leaf spring again. Like I said, it's not metal. It's fiberglass. Almost feels like a piece of wood. We go to this side. Brake pads are good. CV joints are good. The boots are good. Nothing loose. Sway bar link is good, and our shock is nice and dry. Here we have the back of the transaxle. There's a nice little plate there. It even has the Sharpie marker from the factory still on it. You can even see a red, like a number 9 or something up there. Very, very good condition. And this is some stock mufflers, but they probably sound a little better than a stock C5. This is a Z06, so let's check the date code on these tires. So even with 14,000 miles, it does have almost new tires. You can see here 41st week of 2022. So these aren't even 6 months or less old. They're really, really nice because they're brand new almost. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. So this vehicle is getting a brake fluid flush. It's getting an oil change. We did inspect the harmonic balancer. It does appear to be in good shape still. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the issues it has in the interior. So one of the issues the customer had is on the door lock here on the driver's door, that it would unlock just fine, but it won't lock. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So here's our lock and unlock button. It'll unlock fine. But you can hear that the passenger door is working over there, but nothing's happening in this door. We were able to peek inside of this little weather stripping here. You won't be able to see it on camera, but we could see that the arm would move to unlock just fine, but when it would go to lock, it would barely even move. So that means the actuator's gotten weak, so we're going to have to pull this door panel off and replace the door lock actuator, which isn't too big of a job. It's not a huge deal. So that'll take care of his lock situation. The next thing I want to talk about is, which is kind of a common issue on these, is the steering lock for the steering wheel. It has issues and it will fail. We've had this knee bolster all apart. We had all kinds of things apart, tracing wires, and it was really crazy. So let's head on up to the front of the car and talk about it. There is actually a recall for that specific issue with the steering wheel, that the steering lock will cause issues. You will try to take off and drive, or put it in first and take off, and the engine will actually stall because the computer senses there's an issue with the steering lock. It could be dangerous. It literally could cause a wreck, so it just shuts you down. We did call the dealer to see if the recall had been done, and they said yes. After we gave them the VIN number, yes, it's been done. But as in this picture, we should have been able to pull the knee bolster, and there was a new relay placed, kind of zip tied up to the frame piece, as the recall says to do. They kind of rework it, the power wires and everything. We did not see that, but we use Identifix here at the shop. We did look at some of the test procedures and figure out what's really going on here. One of the recommendations that it said was to just pull the fuse and hard reset the body control module. It was just a glitch or something. We did that, and we put the fuse back in, and voila. The error message, like this, where it says steering lock issue basically, went away. And whenever we turned the key off and wiggled the steering wheel, it would lock. It started working again. So there's really not much else we need to do to it, but they do sell a bypass kit specifically for this issue. When you start having trouble with it over and over, even after the recall, and you say, you know what, I'm just really done with this, they sell a bypass kit on a lot of the Corvette websites and things that sells just Corvette parts. They have a kit just for it. If this customer has any more issues with it, it acts up again, we will probably recommend to do the bypass. That is a common thing. It's so common, in fact, like I said, they actually make a kit just for it. This time around, it just needs to be basically like an old PC that needs to be rebooted. It just needed to have the fuse pulled and a hard reset. It's totally happy again. We were able to put the bolster back together. We had a bunch of time into diagnosis and chasing wires, checking power, checking grounds. The solenoid still works. But we got that solved without really replacing anything. That's really nice. So many vehicles coming in and out of this shop. They're $3 grand, $5 grand. They're very, very expensive on the repairs. This one has 14,000 miles on it, 15 almost. And it will leave the shop for less than $1,000. It'll be in the hundred. I haven't gotten the full price together yet, but it'll be in the hundreds, 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure yet. But we'll do oil change, brake fluid flush. The transmission is fine, it's full. We checked all the fluids and everything. We'll fix the door actuator. We've already fixed the steering lock. We verified that the harmonic balancer is happy. Everything else is mint on this thing. It's immaculate. It's really, really nice. So before this thing left the shop, I definitely wanted you guys to check it out. 15,000 mile Z06 C5 Corvette in the flesh, or the metal, or whatever you want to call it. It is so nice. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use, or some of the tools we've actually already used to fix this thing, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below, and we get a small cut. We really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's more and more and more videos to come. Thanks for watching.